SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest.
Hey, and just like that, we are back. Good morning to you. Wednesday morning. We are almost to the end of the month of October. Today is October 29th. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. It's been a couple of days since I've been with you, and it's really good to be back. Jane doesn't always wake up as early as I do. She was up this morning. She goes, what's wrong? Like, you feel like you're out of sorts. I said, I feel out of sorts because I've been out of a routine, and it's good to be back in a routine with you this morning. A special edition of Mornings with Richard Cross as we broadcast live from the Ole Miss campus. We are in the Johnson Commons Ballroom, kind of on the, let's see, direction-wise, the east side, east end of the building. Out to my left, out the windows, is the quad. You've got Paris Yates Chapel and kind of this side of campus over close to where the pavilion is. And the pavilion is where tonight the Turning Point USA Tour will make its college campus stop in Mississippi. And it will do so with the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and the widow of the late Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, as the keynote speakers. And we are going to have you covered on this all day long right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Caleb Sailors from the SuperTalk Mississippi news team going to be here, going to be moving around campus, keeping you up to date with all the things that are going on tonight. And then we'll have plenty to talk about tomorrow after this big event that is a pretty tough ticket. There are a lot of people that are trying to get into this event. All of the priority for the event goes to Ole Miss students. And then if there is anything left, it is who's in line that has a general admission wait list ticket. They're going to let as many people in as they can. And we'll see what that crowd turns out to be like. So, lots to get to this morning. A lot of guests that are going to be coming by. We're going to talk with some Ole Miss students. We're going to talk with some faculty members. We're going to talk about this event, what the message is going to be like. We're going to talk with some of our state elected officials that will be in and around the event this evening as well. But first, to you, Lance, I say good morning, old friend.
Man, welcome back. It feels like it's been a bit, bro.
It has been. It has been. So since I have
you're up in the Dakotas, man.
Since I've last talked to you, I've been in the Dakotas for 3 days, South Dakota. Had a cool football game last Saturday night, although the game itself turned out not to be very good. But the build-up for it was great, and they were so very kind. And I got home Sunday afternoon and then turned around and left again Monday morning, and I've been in Charlotte the last couple of days. College basketball season is almost here, and we had our big ESPN basketball seminar to get ready for that. And so I got home last night and on campus this morning and in Jackson tomorrow for for Hobnob.
Hobnobbing it tomorrow, that's right.
So I think next week we'll be back into a bit of a normal routine.
It's kind of a whirlwind there.
Yeah, you've been holding down the fort?
Oh, I'm trying, I can't barely doing it without you, but we try to keep the wheels on, man.
Beautiful, beautiful. You have had to dodge raindrops the last few days in a lot of the part of the state of Mississippi. Rain today in Oxford, high of 51. Well, that's new. High of 51. Winds out of the west at 10 to 20 miles per hour, about a 90% chance of rain. If we count right now as part of today, then you can just push it to 100% because it is raining. About a quarter of an inch of rain today. Madison, cloudy skies for you today. A little bit warmer, mid-50s. Winds out of the west at 15 to 25 miles an hour with higher wind gust possible. Hattiesburg, you've got winds out of the west and northwest 10 to 20. Partly cloudy skies, high of 62. And how about Gulfport? Going to be 66 today in Gulfport. Sunny skies, for most of the day. Winds 20 to 30 miles an hour on the coast.
They're buzzing around here right now, too. So
yeah,
if you're out there, be careful. There's limbs and trees and all kind of stuff that was lounging around from last night.
Well, and if you're in an area where it has rained a bunch in the last couple of days and you get the big winds, heads up on trees that, soggy ground and roots, and we know how that goes. So hopefully it was dry enough that that's not too big of an issue. Short list of birthdays today. Bob Ross, Happy Little Trees. Painter and television host known for the joy of painting. He was born in 1942. Richard Dreyfuss, born in 1947. Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
And Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Mr. Holland's Opus, if you prefer.
I'm going with Close Encounters or Jaws, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? You remember the movie The Holiday, where you got Jack Black in there, and it's Cameron Diaz and who's the other the star of the movie? But they
Not
swap
Vince
houses.
Vaughn, is it? No,
that's
the other one. Yeah,
no. They swap houses. She's an adorable actor. Anyway, but Jack Black's character is talking to her about music because he writes music scores for movie trailers. And he was talking to her about Jaws, and he's like, the two most iconic notes ever written for a movie. Yeah, pretty iconic.
Hey, don't snooze on What About Bob either. The Richard Dreyfuss flick with that's a pretty good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Winona Ryder was born in 1971. Beetlejuice, Stranger Things, lots of others. This day, Benito Mussolini in 1922 was appointed Prime Minister of Italy by King Victor Emmanuel III, marking the beginning of actual fascist rule in Italy. This day in 1929, regarded as Black Tuesday, a stock market crash on Wall Street that triggered the beginning of the Great Depression in the United States. 1969. Now, I don't know if this was Al Gore or not. The ARPANET in 1969. The first computer-to-computer link on the ARPANET. It was the precursor to the Internet, and it happened between two universities, UCLA and Stanford. So you got UCLA in Los Angeles, Stanford in the Bay Area, up around Palo Alto, and they hooked up a couple of computers via the ARPANET. And they're like, oh, well, now, if we can make this computer talk to that computer, that kind of changes things just a little bit. Who knew how connected we would become? Time for some news headlines this morning with you. We begin with Hurricane Melissa, which came ashore in Jamaica yesterday as a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane. One of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record. Continues headed toward eastern Cuba as a major hurricane, and I guess maybe has made landfall in Cuba at this point. In Jamaica, Melissa's rain and 185-mile-per-hour winds caused landslides, fallen trees, power outages, and officials said that the damage assessment would be slow. The quote from the Prime Minister of Japan, Andrew Holness, there is no infrastructure in the region that can withstand a Category 5. That kind of puts it in perspective. Hey, how are things going to hold up? They're not. Good to know. Strongest to hit the island. Strongest hurricane to hit the island of Jamaica since they began record keeping 174 years ago. I'm assuming you either heard or have seen this story from yesterday. Because, Lance, I do not remember one quite like this. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department yesterday afternoon reported that a truck hauling monkeys from Tulane University to a testing facility in Florida had overturned just north of Heidelberg, and the monkeys were on the loose.
Yeah, that was a crazy one, wasn't it? They
But
did
not
like
just
they didn't
any
look like little
monkeys.
pet monkeys either. Yeah.
Not just any monkeys. These rhesus monkeys were 40 pounds, aggressive, and they require anybody dealing with them to wear personal protective equipment. Why? Well, because they're like test tube monkeys.
Yeah, they didn't look like the petable kind. They're the Reese's
I
ones,
guess
yeah.
Maybe not test tube. Now, the people from Tulane said these particular monkeys were not infected, but rhesus monkeys carry hepatitis C, herpes, and COVID. Authorities took to social media to report that all but one of them had been eliminated. Law enforcement authorities have been in contact with an animal disposal company to help handle the situation. Tulane weighed in. They sent an email to our SuperTalk Mississippi news team. They said these monkeys belong to another entity. They were not actually their monkeys, and they were not infectious. Non-human primates at the Tulane National Biomedical Research Center are provided to other research organizations. We are actively collaborating. We'll help if needed.
From the Venable Glass.
Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
C-Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. Ready for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? They're on right now. You don't have to wait at C-Spire. Like any new iPhone with up to $1,000 off of trade-in, plus a free Apple Watch SE to go with it. Or, for people like Lance, Samsung fans,
Yeah,
you can get the new Galaxy S25 for free with no trade-in needed.
Yeah, I think it's about time, man. Mine, you can see the red letters from the keyboard, through the screen on mine now. So,
Perhaps it is time. The best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals go fast, so don't wait. Shop now at cspire.com or visit your local C-Spire store today. C-Spire, customer inspired. Richard Cross, Lance Tolbert with you. Bunch of guests coming up this morning. Looking forward to that. Again, the C-Spire text line is the best way for you to connect with us. Running through some news headlines. We'll get to some sports as well. I wish we could just recap Monday night's World Series game again, because it was way more entertaining than last night's World Series game. But we'll get to that in a bit. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank. Visit them online at communitybank.net. Rooted in our community, that's communitybank.net. So Mackenzie Scott now, continues her generosity. You remember that she and Jeff Bezos got divorced a few years ago, and she got a bunch of money, and she has not been shy about giving that money away to a number of causes that are important to her, including to HBCUs. And for the second time in a calendar year, Alcorn State is the beneficiary of a gift from Mackenzie Scott, a $42 million unrestricted gift. I said for the second time in a year, for the second time in 5 years. A $42 million unrestricted donation made by Mackenzie Scott. Second major gift to Alcorn State. She gave them $25 million back in 2020. Her gift to Alcorn State 4 years ago supported specifically faculty endowment, scholarships, capital projects as part of the university's strategic plan. This time, they can use it wherever they see fit. And Alcorn says that they're going to work with the ASU Foundation to invest and allocate across all of the strategic campus priorities. So, very cool. Scott is a novelist, a philanthropist. She was an early contributor to Amazon. Previously married, of course, to Jeff Bezos, co-founder of the company. And as of late last year, she had donated over $19 billion to more than 2,500 nonprofits. So, very, very cool for her. Lance, you know what to me the neatest thing about people that have lots and lots and lots of money? And I'm talking like the top 100 on the Forbes billionaires list. Like Warren Buffett has given away so much money. He's the one that well, I guess he and Steve Gates or Bill Gates got the giving pledge going about giving away all their wealth. It's almost impossible.
That's how much you've accumulated.
That's the thing, though. It's like, but it's not just like if you stopped today and just gave it all away. Okay, that's fine. But it would be really hard to give away that much money and feel like you could do so in a responsible way. But the interest meter doesn't stop. And so even though Buffett has given away hundreds of millions of dollars, Berkshire Hathaway continues to grow, and it's like he's been stuck on $100 billion in net worth for like 20 years now.
Yeah, it's not like a Brewster's Millions story. I mean, the interest, the foundation, the pot of gold is going to still grow. You're not blowing through that. This is mostly interest and growth that is likely getting chiseled off the block.
I mean, how cool would it be if you were a philanthropist to be that kind of philanthropist? Yeah, I'm going to give away $100 million a year or $1 billion a year, and yet it doesn't even change how much money you have. It's just like this endless supply of the ability to give away. That's pretty fantastic. For the fourth year in a row, Billboard magazine has named Delta State University's Delta Music Institute one of the top music business schools in the world. The unranked list included Delta State along schools such as Abbey Road Institute in London, Berklee College of Music in Boston and Spain, Belmont University in Nashville, Middle Tennessee, and in Murfreesboro. This is what they wrote about Delta State. Students ready to embrace technology, creativity, and business strategy will find their muse at the university's Delta Music Institute program. Located in the famed region that gave birth to the blues, the Institute provides a Bachelor of Science in Entertainment Industry Studies, along with experience in studio facilities that include a Dolby Atmos immersive audio studio, and, of course, they're able to work with Grammy Museum, Mississippi. So, outstanding stuff there. Just in case you were curious, to go along with tonight's Turning Point USA event that is happening in the pavilion, there will be a counter event. I believe that is how it has been described. That happens in the student union. Democrats have organized the event with a member of the Tennessee legislature and an Ole Miss professor. You might not recognize the name of the Tennessee legislature member who is here. She was Representative Gloria Johnson, part of the Tennessee Three, whose protests in the State House drew national attention following the deadly school shooting in Nashville. You probably will recognize the name of the Ole Miss professor who is the co-coordinator. That is Professor of Sociology. Hold on. Actually, that is tenured Professor of Sociology, Dr. James Thomas. He has at times been a controversial figure on the Ole Miss campus, and is a big fan of salads. So that'll be interesting to see what the attendance is like for that. That is happening. And a statement from the Mississippi Democrat Party. In Mississippi and across America, we believe in the fundamental right to free speech for all, and that includes the right of these students to organize, to speak, and to present alternative viewpoints. Democracy thrives when young people engage thoughtfully with the political process, ask tough questions, and demand accountability from their leaders. These students are doing exactly that, and we stand firmly beside them. Outstanding. She is exactly right with what she says there. I think that was also the intent of the Turning Point event, was to engage in open dialogue, but I digress. Give you a couple of sports headlines this morning. Sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort is the home of the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. It's going to be wet today. It was wet yesterday. But if you look at the forecast the next 2 weeks, highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s, a lot of sunshine. Perfect time for the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. DancingRabbitGolf.com. World Series Game 3 last night, and the Blue Jays evened it up. Lance, you may not be a Dodgers fan. You may not be a Blue Jays fan. These may not be teams that drive the needle or move the needle in terms of interest. This is a really fascinating matchup. Coming off the 18-inning game 2 nights ago, last night it was Toronto bouncing back to win 6-2. Shohei Ohtani took the loss in the game, which, by the way,
after having 9 at-bats. Yeah.
I mean, he could never do anything again for the Dodgers, and he would have done enough.
Yeah, they got. I mean,
never again.
Coming off of an 18-inning game, then you get the start. You had 9 at-bats. Would you reach base 9 times? 2 bombs the night before, basically. So, yeah, I mean, I really thought the Dodgers had the momentum after the 18-inning win, but you got to tip your cap to the Blue Jays for coming out and putting up the fight because I mean, they won that 6-2. Kind of got on them early, you know. No, I mean, I like both these teams, honestly. I mean, Toronto, I was always a Vlad Guerrero fan. You know, when I like the Expos.
Now it's Vlad Jr.
Yeah, and I like the Expos and the Blue Jays mainly because it was cool to see American baseball in Canada. You know, I like that. I like the sport expanding. I've always been curious why it never grew much more out of the boundaries here and then Japan. But you've seen it, you know, start growing in the world. So I've always kind of liked the Blue Jays a little bit. But I don't pull for them. I just think it's an interesting franchise.
Yeah, no doubt. 2 college football games happened last night. Kennesaw State beat UTEP 33-20. James Madison smoked Texas State 52-20.
That Alonzo Barnett, the third guy, is a stud, man. Quarterback for James Madison,
4 touchdown passes last night. 2 tonight, Jacksonville State at Middle Tennessee. FIU at Missouri State. You know, football coaches are getting fired left and right. You've seen that, and perhaps you've seen the buyout numbers. Have you seen the cumulative buyout number so far? We have not yet entered the month of November. $167,700,000.
Educating them kids.
Brian Kelly and Billy Napier and Mike Gundy and Sam Pittman and old Jimmy Franklin at Penn State and others. Your sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Yes, I'm leaving here a better man.
From the Seabrook.
Wake up! Rise and shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Nice early morning surprise.
On Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us. I've got some students that are going to come by and visit this morning. We're going to talk with Nicole Akins-Boyd, Senator Nicole Boyd this morning. Also, Representative Clay Deweese will be by. And we're going to talk to some folks this morning from the Ole Miss Declaration of Independence Center, including my first guest this morning, Rankin Sherling, who is the Associate Director of the Declaration Center on campus. And you and I were just chatting before the break, and I honestly was learning about this. I have known for a while now that this center is on campus, but I think I was under the impression that it fell under the umbrella of the political science department, and that's just not at all accurate.
Right, that's not true. We're completely separate center called the Declaration of Independence Center, although we do teach some classes that incorporate some aspects of political science, some aspects of philosophy, some aspects of history. We're interdisciplinary.
Okay.
So no, we're not. Nothing against them or anything. We're just not. It's not part of the political science department.
So there is not currently a major that comes out of this this center, but there is a minor, right?
There is a minor, and we encourage as many students to. It was. The last time I checked the numbers, we're the fastest growing minor on campus.
Really?
Yeah, and surpassed a lot of maybe more infamous minors on campus. I won't name them. But, we really mostly are
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about my entire academic career, which might have been described as infamous somewhere along the way. But got to the finish line eventually.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, no, our biggest concern right now, since we've only been really rolling here with a full team for about a year and a half, on campus anyway, full team on campus, is to get as many students as possible in our classes. So we don't care what your major is right now. We want people who are pre-med, pre-dent, pre-law, whatever, business, to be in our classes and learning how the country was put together. And learning about the real foundations of the country, so that they can stand up to this narrative that the United States is somehow evil. Now, and a lot of people won't really realize this, but for years in academia, I'm not saying this is not unique to Ole Miss, but in academia, there's been this long, probably at least since the 70s or 80s, probably longer than that, the idea has been dominant in universities that the United States was founded in large part, if not solely, to further the institution of slavery, the oppression of women, and the confiscation of native lands. Now, did all those three of those things happen? Yes, they all of those things happened, but that is not why the United States was founded. That has,
right.
That's a very incorrect way of looking at the founding, we think, and we have plenty of evidence, and would love to debate anybody who would like to take us on that.
So you were telling me in terms of the class offerings, everything is based on original founding documents. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So the one different kind of so all of our seminars, for instance, upper level seminars, we're teaching a seminar on separation of church and state, that's the First Amendment. So that's the founding document that we're really looking at there,
sure.
The First Amendment. We taught a class in the spring of last year on the 14th Amendment. That's essentially the way that we design our classes. But the ones that are even more loosely based on the founding documents, that's kind of the driving rudder behind them. That everybody has to read founding either the Federalist, some of the Federalist Papers, or the Constitution, or the Bill of Rights, or the Declaration. Our 101 class, they'll read the Declaration, they'll read the Constitution, they'll read the Bill of Rights, they'll read lots of the Federalist Papers and some of the Anti-Federalist Papers. So they get a real taste of what's actually being said, and then people like me or some of our other teaching staff will walk them through the historical context of the time, the intellectual context of the time here in America, but also the intellectual antecedents that go way back into our Western heritage, and then we just kind of braided those together here in a uniquely American thing.
One of the things that I'm thinking about as you talk about teaching that is based on the original documents, whether you're talking about the Declaration of Independence or the United States Constitution or the Federalist Papers, the men who wrote those did not all see the world exactly the same way.
That's right.
They were not all from one walk of life or one political party or belief, and not that I'm trying to use Hamilton as like the baseline for my understanding of American history, but if you've seen that musical, if you've watched the movie of it, you see there was huge disagreement among the founding fathers, and yet somehow they got to documents that have lasted for 250 plus years.
Yeah, it's remarkable. So when people talk about the founders, what they thought and what they did, and how they believe the country should be, you should read this guy named Forrest McDonald, who was he's long dead now, but he was a historian of this era at the University of Alabama, and is really considered like politically incorrect now. So you should go read him.
By all means.
Yeah. So hopefully his Amazon numbers tick up today. But he made this exact point that you made. You can't just lump them all together. But what they did do was remarkable. This form of government, in the Western tradition, people thought this would never work. Democracies don't work. Republics don't work. They fall apart, and they fall apart in exactly the same ways. It happened in Athens, happened in Rome. People wrote about it for years, and that's why a lot of people in the Western tradition didn't put these into place. And our founders decided almost 1,000 years after the last large-scale republic existed on Earth, the Republic of Rome, which fell, depending on how you date it, probably 31 BC, 27 BC. That's when the Republic fell, not the Empire. That's the last large-scale republic on Earth until 1776. I mean, and it's not supposed to work, remember? And it's like we're about to turn 250. So what we've done here, that group of guys that you're talking about who couldn't agree on everything and disagreed about a lot. In fact,
sure.
The first vice president, or not the first vice president, but Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel. That's how badly they disagreed with each other. But it is remarkable what we've done here.
Rankin Sherling visiting with me. He is Associate Director of the Declaration of Independence Center on the Ole Miss campus, and it's still a relatively new program. We know when people talk about the fact that in .edu world, the world that is academia, a lot of our college campuses have professors that lean politically to the left, and that falls into the teaching. Is the Declaration Center a counter to that, or is it kind of a standalone, this is just what we're going to do and we're not really worried about what other people are doing?
Well, it's a little bit of both of those. It's definitely a counter. Nobody is approaching these topics from our perspective. We are conservative and unapologetically conservative. In the sense that we think the American tradition, especially of freedom, is good and worth preserving, conserving. And so we start from right there. We think we can also prove that, and so that is a counter weight already, especially on a campus like this one, where the majority of the students agree with us. They think the American tradition is good. They're pro-American. And so that's made us pretty popular amongst the students and made us very unpopular amongst other people.
Yeah, some of the faculty, certainly, no doubt. Is this happening other places? Are there other universities where there are freedom centers, if that's exactly how we want to classify it, that's being taught?
Yes.
Primarily in the Northeast?
Well,
there was a joke there, just in case you missed that. Wake up.
Yeah.
Not you wake up. You're wide awake.
I know what you mean. The state of Ohio has created I think they call them civics centers at every single one of their state universities.
Okay.
And so they're a little bit like us. They're not.
That is not where I would have guessed you went for that. But okay, that's fascinating.
It's not explicitly conservative like we are, but it's certainly a step in the right direction to go back and learn how the country was put together. There's also one at Florida called the University of Florida called the Hamilton Center.
Really interesting. Do you anticipate neighboring states kind of following suit?
That's the hope.
Yeah. We're going to see where this goes. Rankin Sherling, thanks so much for getting up early and visiting with us this morning.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Mornings of Richard Cross. We'll wrap up the first hour of the show when we come back with you. We're broadcasting from the Ole Miss campus this morning. Of course, tonight, the Turning Point USA tour stop, including Vice President J.D. Vance and the widow of Charlie Kirk, the new CEO of TPUSA, Erica Kirk. We're back with you right after this on MRC.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go. Now back to Mornings with Richard Cross.
Now that's entertainment.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Thank you for being with us. It is time for a lottery update, a Mississippi lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. Jackpot tonight for Powerball up to $376 million. The estimated cash value just shy of $180 million. Monday night's numbers, those were not winners. 17, 39, 43, 51, 66, 20 for the Powerball. You know who else didn't win? You. When it comes to Mega Millions last night. And so we roll toward Friday with $750 million for the estimated jackpot, which, by the way, sounds like more than $754 million. Do you agree with that, Lance?
Oh, yeah.
When
definitely.
When
Rounding
you say
up.
$750 million sounds like more than $754 million.
Yeah, I agree.
Just my opinion.
Put the B word in there, the billion.
That's right. Estimated cash value for Mega Millions on Friday night, $352,800,000. Last night's numbers, 2, 19, 33, 53, 61. The Mega Ball was 14. So be sure to get your ticket before those big drawings at your local Mississippi Lottery retailers. And, of course, check out all of the information about the Mississippi Lottery online at mslottery.com. I appreciate Rankin Shirley for stopping by. Associate Director for the University of Mississippi Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom. It's a lot on a business card. That's a mouthful in terms of the.
I couldn't fit it all on the screen, so I had to just go with the UM Declaration of Independence Center. Hope that didn't offend him at all.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But no, it's fascinating when you think about what you know about the academic world, what you think about the academic world, what the reputation of the academic world is, and you see an entity, a group that is countering some of what academia has become.
Yeah, you're
right?
saying that America was founded because it wanted to, to further slavery. Man, that's insanity. But whatever, if that's what's being taught, I'm glad there is a counterweight to that.
Well, and I guess I just mean from an overall standpoint, college campuses
he said that.
Across the country are ideologically left-leaning among the faculty. In some cases, you have administration that isn't, but overwhelmingly, faculty members on college campuses lean to the left. And in some cases, lean way to the left, and there just isn't much of a counter to that on most college campuses. Now, it's a little bit different when you get into the business schools and programs, accounting schools, maybe some medical areas. But in most of, in the English department, the history department, the political science department, and, the sociology department, and a lot of the sciences, a lot of your professors, and this isn't unique to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, this is across the country. Your professors lean to the left, and there isn't much of a counter to balance the student experience. And what students are being exposed to. And I think that's one of the reasons that the Declaration of Independence Center on Ole Miss's campus is important. Not because you want to indoctrinate students with conservative philosophies or right-leaning philosophies, but just because you want a balance. Right? That's kind of differing viewpoints, the ability to learn, the ability to figure out how our nation was founded and why, and what some of those documents actually were and what they actually said and what they actually mean, that become a counter to some of the things that are being taught in other parts of college campuses. And it's not happening many places. Ole Miss is actually kind of on the leading edge of this. You heard Rankin Shirley tell us a little while ago that there are some civics centers on Ohio State University campuses, not just the Ohio State, but all of their state-sponsored schools, and that you've got the Hamilton Center at Florida that is teaching some conservative and freedom studies. But that's about it in terms of this being available on college campuses. Is it going to grow? Is there an appetite for that growth? We'll see. It's really going to be a fascinating thing. Gregg Davidson's going to join us a little bit later this morning. He's an Ole Miss professor and faculty advisor for the Ole Miss chapter of Turning Point. Stephen Skultety is going to be with us in the 7 o'clock hour as well. Senator Nicole Boyd, Representative Clay Deweese. Eli Keel is going to join us, member of Turning Point, and Emily Purifoy will as well. She is a Turning Point member and a Freedom Studies scholar. But when we come back for the 7 o'clock hour, we are going to have our first student guest this morning, Kenneth Tonos, who is vice president of the Ole Miss chapter of Turning Point USA. TPUSA event happening tonight at the Pavilion. Vice President J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk, the keynote speakers. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. We're back with you right after this.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
It's time to switch on.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Cowboys ain't easy to love and they're harder to hold.
Good morning. Welcome once again. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride. Mornings is brought to you by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams, whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business. We're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. Just for your information, J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk are the speakers at tonight's Turning Point USA event on the Ole Miss campus. We reached out to the office of the vice president through every avenue that we possibly could, and Vice President J.D. Vance was not able to join us today. Hopefully at some point in the future. So instead, we've got Vice President Kenneth Tonos. He's Vice President of the Ole Miss chapter of Turning Point, and kind enough to get up early with us. Good to see you, Kenneth. Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate it. You are a Greenville native, is that right?
I'm a Greenville native.
All right, so a Mississippi boy. We appreciate very much you being here today. First of all, what about the excitement level for this tonight? Vice President of the United States and Erica Kirk making her only stop on the Turning Point tour.
It's overwhelming, I would say. I don't know. Everybody opened their phones when the announcement came out, and everybody's eyes just kind of popped out of their head.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's coming here. So it's weird because this is in my humble opinion, this is the biggest event that could be even bigger than the 2008 presidential debate that happened on campus. Because this is an active, someone who's currently in office. This isn't somebody who could be the next president of the United States,
right,
too. But it's one of those things that, this is the turning point. This is just it's blown out of the water. This is it. This is the thing.
Well, and there was so much uncertainty in the wake of Charlie's death about what was going to happen to Turning Point. Ole Miss was a tour stop that had been announced. This October 29th date was already on the calendar, and there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not it would happen, if it did happen, what it would look like. And then the folks at TPUSA said, we're going to continue. And you saw a list of who some of the speakers were going to be. Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and so many others that are involved with the organization. And then it was quiet for a little while. And how much communication was there between the Ole Miss chapter of Turning Point and TPUSA of, hey, this is what we're thinking? Or did they just drop it on you?
There were a couple people on campus who were in contact. From my standpoint, I did not know anything. I was setting up the tailgate in the Grove, because we tailgate in the Grove,
right,
on the LSU game day, and some random person, I don't know who it is, came up to me and was like, hey, I heard y'all might be getting J.D. Vance. And that's when I was like, no way.
Really?
And I was like, this is so random. And so I went and I talked to our chapter advisor, and he was like, I haven't even heard anything. So the communication was slim, but I think that there were some people who knew, but I don't think it was anybody with our chapter. I think it was everybody on the campus to make sure we had the security to get there. And that's what they kept telling us was like, hey, we need to get the security. And that's when the light bulb went off. Was like, maybe it is J.D. Vance.
Yeah. There's going to be a heavy Secret Service presence, heavy law enforcement presence in and around Ole Miss today because of enhanced security, as you would expect with the vice president coming. Let's go back to September 10th. I have a 10th grade daughter, and the second text message that I got was from her. And she's like, hey, is this true? What's going on? And I mean, the news it was just coming out. It was scary and sad and shocking and all of those things. But what struck me about that was, okay, you've got high school students that are engaged in this, and it hit them really, really hard. Obviously, the primary area where Charlie Kirk was operating was on college campuses. What was the reaction for you, for your friends, for your fellow Turning Point chapter members when you heard the news?
It was really shock, and it was like, what do we do now? That was like the first response, especially since we were a stop on his tour. It was like, what's going to happen? Because as soon as that tour date was announced, our chapter grew immediately.
Really,
because people were they were so fond of Charlie Kirk. They were just so excited and happy that he was going to come to our campus.
What was it about Charlie's message that resonated in your mind with college students?
It's just the different avenues of approach. He didn't get you on, just one policy. It was like he was engaging with people. There was traditional dating. There was just the conservative way that he pushed. It wasn't like, illegal immigration. It just wasn't one broad thing. It was more, hey, if I'm moderate, I can actually agree with this guy.
Yeah. Well, and one of the fascinating things to me about Charlie was, I mean, in a place like this, I mean, Ole Miss, the student population is largely more conservative than it is on a lot of college campuses. But you saw him going to places in the Ivy League, in the on the West Coast, in the Upper Midwest, where it feels like there is a more liberal viewpoint in a lot of places, and yet he was making inroads and was engaging and connecting with people on college campuses where you're like, okay, maybe the ideology is not as left-leaning as a lot of people make it out to be.
Yes. It was weird to see him. He went to the UK at one point, and he did just a civil debate where he stands up, and as soon as you sit down, someone else will talk. And he still managed to reach people in that audience that didn't have the same viewpoint as him, and they got to thinking about it. And that's what I think that a lot of it was that people started to think. It was that, all these narratives were pushed down their throats, and people did not open up their minds to say, hey, maybe this is the right way, or maybe I should start thinking in someone else's shoes. Maybe what they say on the news isn't always true.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see that and come from, Ole Miss to USC to any college in the United States or by far in the world, to see young people just change in that way.
What do you expect tonight to be like for the event itself?
Tonight, I'm expecting a speech and then Q&A. I know that J.D. Vance has already talked about this openly, that he wants to hear from us. And that's what Charlie's message was. He wanted to hear from the college students. He wanted to hear our side, because it's not always the right side, and a lot of people are misinformed. But also, along with that, people come from different backgrounds, different places, and they don't know about that. So I come from the Mississippi Delta. A lot of people around here don't even know about the Mississippi Delta. A lot of people on this campus that don't even know about Mississippi, which is funny. But it's it'll be interesting to see how this Q&A goes.
What's the vibe been like? What's the buzz been like on campus among your classmates, fellow students about this event in particular? Has it generated a lot of buzz and a lot of conversation?
It's mixed feelings. I've talked to some people, and it's just like with everything that goes on in the world of recent, it's kind of I don't know if I want to go because, of all things that have happened.
There's fear.
There's fear. There's a huge amount of fear. But there's also a lot of excitement that gets people engaged, excited, like, oh, I'm not political, but this is the vice president. I'm never going to see a vice president again, and this could be the next president of the United States. So it's when you get people like that, it drives those people who have fear to have a buddy with them to go into this event, and that they're not alone.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. When I was in college a long time ago, Al Gore spoke in Jackson, Tennessee, and I didn't have a lot in common politically with Al Gore, but I was intrigued. It's like, this is the Vice President of the United States. Let's see what he's got to say. Let's learn a little bit more about this. And so there is a curiosity piece that's there. What about the Erica Kirk side of things?
Erica Kirk, the side that she comes from, she's our CEO. She's our person in charge now. She is what we are listening to for our next step forward. She released a video the other day of her daughter in the back just driving by the Turning Point headquarters, and she was just going, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. And I think that's what it's about. It's about that this is the future. Erica Kirk is our future for right now, and she is going to show us the way, and whatever way that is and the direction that she intends for that to go.
Tell me about the Turning Point chapter on the Ole Miss campus. What's the level of activity? What's the level of involvement? You said it's grown drastically since this event in particular was announced.
We meet just about twice every month. We have tabling almost every other day, and we reach as many students as possible. And then we have other social events that we try to incorporate with that. We'll do like a media day with the fire department or a media day with the police department. And it's just like to get out there to make other students feel welcome and engaged on our campus.
Kenneth Tonos, he is Vice President of the Ole Miss chapter of Turning Point. Tonight is the Turning Point Tour event on the Ole Miss campus. We're going to continue to talk about that this morning. Thanks so much for coming by.
Yes, sir.
Great visiting with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're going to take a quick time out. We're back with you right after this. Thanks for joining us.
From the Venable Glass.
Ready? Mornings with Richard Cross.
People want to hear the truth, man. That's what we're going to do.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
My transistor radio comes from far away. And when it's night over here.
Lance, when we do this live, folks that are regular listeners to Mornings with Richard Cross, they know that Wednesdays are country music Wednesdays, and we get some eyebrows that are raised when we're live, but
it's fun.
We'll keep that rolling. Glad to be with you, MRC, this morning, and we're joined now by Dr. Stephen Skultety. He is the chair of the Department of Philosophy and Religion and is director of the Declaration of Independence Center on the Ole Miss campus. Good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. It's great to meet you in person, and thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. Big day. Big day on the Ole Miss campus. Anytime a sitting vice president is coming to campus, that's a big deal. But it's not just Vice President J.D. Vance. It's Erica Kirk. It's the entire crew from Turning Point. How did this happen?
A while ago, one of the people I've hired in the Declaration Center, a guy by the name of Ted Richards, he came up and asked me, he said, I had Charlie Kirk as a student in one of my classes, and I know Charlie. I'm sure he would love to come to Ole Miss. Should I go ahead and just float that kind of trial balloon with him?
Yeah.
See if he'd like to come. So he extended the invitation, and Charlie got back in touch, had his team get back in touch and say he would love to come to Ole Miss. And in fact, he was so excited about coming to Ole Miss that he said, look, Turning Point would just, pay all the expenses, do everything, because this would just be such a fantastic event. So, we were super excited that he was going to be coming personally.
Sure.
I know the Turning Point chapter here was just over the moon that he was going to be coming, and it was just so shocking when he was assassinated that we didn't know exactly what was going to happen after that. So I guess the significance of this to me, it's not only that we have the vice president coming, but the vice president, from what I understand, has explicitly said that he wants this event this afternoon to be a tribute to Charlie, not just a typical political campaign stop or something.
Well, and I was talking with Kenneth a second ago, the student who's the vice president of Turning Point here, and said, there were all of these questions in the aftermath of Charlie's death. What is going to become of Turning Point? What is going to become of these events? Because the Ole Miss event was on the calendar prior to Charlie's death, prior to him being assassinated, and so there was this uncertainty of, okay, what happens next?
Right.
And we didn't know for a little while. And then it was almost a surprise when Turning Point announced that, yes, the event is going to continue. And then on top of that, it was not only is it going to continue, but the vice president is going to be the keynote. And, oh, by the way, Erica Kirk is going to make her only speech on the Turning Point tour this particular year, which it feels like just raised the stakes dramatically.
Absolutely. No, it's sort of bigger than we can imagine times 10 is kind of the way this played out. So it really is exciting, but it's also just really moving. And my guess for what the ceremony or the event tonight is going to look like is it's going to be very poignant. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of emotions involved, especially because Eric is here. And this is, again, sort of a tribute to Charlie's life and his life's work. From as high a and most prominent individual kind of you can imagine stepping in to carry that charge.
There have been big events on the Ole Miss campus before. There are 8 football games this fall. Sometimes that's a really hard ticket. There was the presidential debate back in 2008. That was a tough ticket.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been anything that has been a more difficult ticket for people that are not students to attend, because the level of interest and the number of people wanting to be here for this tonight does not match the seating capacity for the pavilion.
No, it doesn't. I mean, even if they had just said, look, we're just going to open a window for tickets, general admission and first come, first serve, that would have been one thing. But when they announced that first they were going to let all the students in,
sure,
and then reserve the remaining seats for everyone else, the number of people looking to get some of those remaining tickets has been enormous.
You've gotten a few of those phone calls and messages. Hey, can you help me out here?
I can neither confirm nor deny, Richard, that I've received these kind of requests. But it's all great. It's all, it's a good problem to have. When people are so excited about an event that they all want to be here for this event. So
let's talk about the relationship between this event, the Turning Point chapter, and the Declaration of Independence Center, and kind of how all those are interconnected.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So over the years, as I've been here at Ole Miss, a number of student groups would approach me because to be a registered student organization, you have to have a faculty advisor.
Okay.
And many of our conservative students had a hard time finding any faculty member who would be their advisor. So
I can't imagine.
So at one point, Richard, I ended up being the faculty advisor for College Republicans, Young Americans for Freedom, Young Americans for Liberty, Turning Point, Young Women of America, and one other one that but I was just long list of student groups. Now, and my role has always been, I've always told them, you are a student-run group. I am not going to come in and run anything for you. But on the other hand, I can help you behind the scenes if you run into an administrative problem, if you're wondering, how do you get like a room reserved or something like that. I've been here long enough. I know how it works. So I can kind of help with sort of the administrative background to this. So now over time, those student groups have grown. We've got a great group of student leaders. You've met some of them. I've recruited other fantastic faculty to take over those advising roles. So the Declaration Center really now is sort of a position where we informally help all of those kind of mission-aligned groups who need us to come in and do some administrative heavy lifting, have a difficult conversation, maybe help with some of the logistical things as the student group needed. So anyway, all of that is a lead up to say for this event, The Turning Point chapter here at Ole Miss and the National Turning Point organization were, in constant communication trying to figure out how this was going to work.
Right.
But then the Declaration Center was able to step in and help with a lot of kind of the logistical conversations, some of the administrative issues that came up during that process, and just sort of, do all the behind-the-scenes sort of operational heavy lifting you need to make sure that the machine runs.
What is the level of concern with the administration on campus for an event like this? Because it's very high profile. There's going to be a very heavy security presence. Mm-hmm. Vice President of the United States is going to be here, and so you would expect that. But also, in the wake of Charlie's assassination, you've got students who have concerns. Like, I want to be there, but is it safe?
That's just a sad reality we're all living with. I mean, people have asked me, should we start having police and security at all the Declaration of Independence Center events? Mm-hmm. And that's just a new reality that we are kind of living with. That said, the administration here has consistently done a really nice job at trying to provide support, both in terms of actual security and police, but they also have a FAST team, and now I'm forgetting what the acronym stands for. But basically, it's a team that's supposed to ensure that freedom of speech can take place here at the University of Mississippi campus, and if things become heated or unsafe, or this team will already have developed a plan about how to intervene and to get the event back on track.
Sure.
So they really try to be proactive here in many ways. But that said, at the end of the day, just in this political environment where a lot of people are more interested in violence than dialogue, that is just a concern you have to walk around with now.
College campuses at their core are supposed to be a place where independent thinking is allowed, exploration of ideas is allowed, and yet in a lot of college campuses that has meant this open opportunity for the left to, in a lot of cases, indoctrinate. Does the Center for the Declaration of Independence operate as a counter to some of that?
That's been my mission. The thing I tell people all the time is that I really believe that the citizens of Mississippi and American citizens in general, we really do believe in the ideals of liberty and justice for all. I really think we take those seriously. But when you look at higher education, and even here in the Ole Miss campus, you look around, you see lots of people interested in discussing justice. Justice and equality and equity, fairness, all the time. Students have lots of opportunities to have those discussions. But there's no discussions happening about liberty, the right. Liberty part of our set of American ideals. So my mission here with the Declaration Center, it's not my job to really, I don't have time or energy to go around attacking other people. And it's just to stick up for that positive ideal of liberty and say, hey, this deserves to be on our list of things to get excited about just as much as any topic about justice. So we need a discussion of both and get back to this environment of debate and dialogue about our shared ideals.
It's going to be a great day on the Ole Miss campus. Even if the weather doesn't completely cooperate, the show will go on. Dr. Stephen Skultety, I beg your pardon, professor of philosophy and over the Declaration of Independence Center.
From the Seabrook
segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters. What are we going to do?
Rise and shine with information and insight.
Check it out.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome again. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Appreciate you making us part of the start of your day on a rainy, windy, overcast day for much of the state of Mississippi. You probably know about Turning Point. You certainly know about Charlie Kirk, and today we're learning more about the Ole Miss Turning Point chapter, learning more about the Freedom Center or the Declaration Center. I finally was given permission to kind of tighten it up a little bit, because Declaration of Independence Center on the campus of the University of Mississippi, that's a mouthful. But we're also talking with people who are involved with the students who ultimately have pulled this off. Gregg Davidson joins us now. He's a professor of geology and geological engineering. Gregg, appreciate you coming by this morning.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So you are the faculty advisor for the Campus Turning Point chapter. What does that entail in terms of working with the students?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll clarify that I'm one of two faculty advisors.
Okay.
So Dr. Vicki Dickinson in accountancy is also a faculty advisor, and she actually was an advisor for years before I was. And if people were listening to the previous segment, you heard Dr. Skultety talk about how initially he was over so many different organizations.
Right.
And as they started to recruit faculty to share that burden, as it were, I was asked if I would step in with Turning Point, and at the time the chapter had kind of dwindled, where maybe a dozen students were showing up, and I agreed to do that. Vicki has stayed on with me, where she eventually plans to shift over to College Republicans, and then of course Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and everything just blew up. So I think last count, student membership on campus was over 400. We actually got in trouble with the very first meeting because we had a room for 150, and we did not sufficiently monitor the door, and there were students sitting on the floor and standing back up against the walls, and administration was a little bit peeved with us. We had to promise that would not happen again to be able to have that room not violate fire code. But as Dr. Skultety shared in the previous segment, that the role of the faculty advisor is not to run things.
Sure.
It is a student organization, but we are there both to provide guidance, to provide how to navigate through the university system, and to provide some guardrails, because
sure,
students are students, and sometimes what they think is okay may not be. So faculty advisors are there to nudge them back into the lane.
Kind of make sure that they stay on the straight and narrow. College campuses are such interesting places. It's where minds are being shaped. It's planning for the future. It's looking as to what is next for you as you move into adulthood. And it's no secret that more times than not, faculty members are more left-leaning in their beliefs. What does that breakdown look like on the Ole Miss campus? Because we're in a part of the country, obviously, where there are far more conservatives than there are in other parts of the world and parts of the United States. What does that look like here?
Well, so first I'll kind of differentiate between the student body and the faculty, because the student body, while drawing certainly well beyond Mississippi, does tend to draw from SEC realm.
Sure.
Which, as you've said,
a more conservative part of the country.
Yeah, a little more conservative. Whereas the faculty are drawn nationally and internationally. And as with all universities, over the last several decades, there has been a concerted effort for some of the left-leaning faculty to actually move into those spaces, and once they get a majority, they stop hiring conservatives. So it becomes a self-perpetuating problem. That said, on the University of Mississippi campus, if you had asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said there's virtually, it's a vanishingly small number of conservative faculty. And that's in part because one of the left's tactics of projecting their message is shame and censorship. If you have a conservative viewpoint, you're basically encouraged to just put your head down, get your job done, not draw attention to yourself. And really with the Freedom Center, so the Declaration of Independence Center coming onto campus, I've seen a shift where there's actually a lot more conservative faculty on the Ole Miss campus than I ever realized. And I think the presence of that center has kind of given that sense that, it's okay to express our opinions.
Yeah. We
don't have to just do our jobs, keep our head down, be quiet.
I thought there was a touch of irony in the announcement that there was going to be a counter event to the Turning Point event tonight. It's going to happen in the student union, and I think on the surface that's all well and good when you're talking about free speech and having the rights of free speech for everyone. The ironic part of it is the events that Charlie Kirk did encouraged opposing viewpoints to come in and have a conversation about them, not let's go have a rally and talk about how bad the other guy is.
Yeah, I mean, and he had an amazing gift at that. And one of the things I appreciated about Charlie was, typically, even if you did invite that kind of a debate, you would hear half of the other person's argument, you jump in, right? And then people start talking over each other.
Right.
And one of the things I watched Charlie do all the time was when somebody would come to the microphone to voice a alternate opinion, he would actually put his mic down on the table so that there was that
the temptation to jump in,
to just like start talking was mitigated. And I was like, wow, that was obviously very intentional and really facilitated there actually being dialogue and conversations.
I'm curious from your seat as a professor, what was the impact that you saw among students, whether they were students involved in Turning Point, conservative students, liberal students, in the immediate aftermath of his assassination in Utah? How did students react? What did you overhear them talking about?
So that's a difficult question because students are going to tend to be more guarded when they're around faculty, even like-minded faculty.
Sure.
So I don't know if I could really honestly answer that. But what I have heard and observed is, of course, everybody that appreciated what Charlie was doing was just shock and just being stunned by that. But then even more so in seeing the immediate aftermath of that with the people that were coming out attempting to demonize the work that Charlie did. So all of the tiny little clips that would be plucked out of something that Charlie said to make it appear that he was saying something completely opposite of what he was really saying.
Right.
So there was that just kind of dumbfounded sense of, do you not realize that Charlie loved you and you're saying these things about him? But the other was pretty quickly a kind of a corporate sense that I heard one of my colleagues actually mention this, that they snuffed out a candle and didn't realize they lit 1,000 stars. And I really sensed that was happening among the students as well, that they had this awareness that like, oh, no, that didn't end this.
Yeah.
This is actually motivation to like double down.
Visiting with Gregg Davidson, he is a professor in the geology department and geological sciences, and also a co-faculty advisor of the Ole Miss Turning Point chapter. One of the messages that Charlie Kirk very openly espoused was his message of faith and the role of Christianity that it plays, and a willingness to openly talk about that. And in some ways, it felt like Charlie being willing to talk about those things made it okay for other people to talk about those things. Have you noticed that at all with the students that are involved with this? Perhaps a renewal of discussions about faith?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think across the country we've seen church membership, or church attendance has bumped up, and people have noted that it's a lot in that younger generation, where they've kind of experienced just the void in their souls over what the culture has been delivering to them. And they're like, this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
There's something more here. And one of the things that I appreciated about Charlie and continuing with Turning Point is that while everything Charlie did was on a foundation of his Christian faith, like nothing he did was not founded in that, and yet he reached out across the faith divide, if you will, to other like-minded people and willing to dialogue with
Right.
people of other faiths, where, say, in our Turning Point chapter, while faith is openly discussed, but you don't necessarily have to be a Christian to be part of the student organization.
Come one, come all.
Yeah, you either come with the sense that you're agreeing with the basic mission of Turning Point, or you're just curious and you want to find out more and you'd like to talk to people. Those people are welcome too.
What's tonight going to feel like?
Tonight is going to be, I anticipate it's going to be amazing. And not necessarily because I think that the words we're going to hear from the platform are just going to be, the most wonderful words you've ever heard in your life. I really think it's more, and not to say that the words won't be great,
Sure.
but just the atmosphere of it that we're anticipating possibly over 9,000 students being in that pavilion that are all, well, I shouldn't say all, most of them are going to be there just enthusiastic about what the future could look like for America, and mourning Charlie's passing,
sure,
but at the same time realizing what it has done for the mission.
Gregg Davidson, one of 2 faculty advisors for Turning Point. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
From the Venable Glass.
Hey, how's it going, man?
The news you need.
Every 10, 15 minutes, there's something.
The talk you love.
They really talk about the things that matter. I'm into all that stuff.
Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good morning once again. Thanks for being with us. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. We are broadcasting live today from the Ole Miss campus. We're in Johnson Commons. The sun has, light has made its way into the day. No sun right now. Spitting rain and breezy, but a big day on the Ole Miss campus as the Turning Point, the tour event is happening tonight. You heard Gregg Davidson say just a moment ago that the expectation is that thousands upon thousands of students are going to be in the pavilion tonight for this event that is featuring the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and also Erica Kirk, the widow of the late Charlie Kirk. And it feels like attendance is there's going to be a little bit of a mixture. There, for some, there is an idle curiosity. For some, there is like this burning curiosity. For some, it's just an event. It's like, hey, it's an event, and the vice president's going to be there. Let's go. We've joked a little about tickets this morning. So the ticketing process through the Turning Point website was you could go in and you could register for a ticket. Some did that a long time ago, knowing that this event was going to be a Charlie Kirk event. Others did so when they kind of re-released the announcement of the event happening on the Ole Miss campus. And there were 2 categories. You either registered as a student or for a general admission waitlist ticket. And there was an email that came out from Turning Point a couple of days ago for those that had registered for tickets that said, students are getting priority. This is a student event first and foremost, and if there are any remaining seats, general admission seats, then people will be let in on a kind of a first-come, first-served basis for that. They expect that I think the line begins forming at 11 this morning. They will open the doors at 3. The event officially begins at 5. It's going to be really interesting, and it's been fascinating to hear people talking about, well, when is the vice president going to arrive, and where is he flying into Oxford? Is he flying into Memphis? Is he flying into Tupelo? You know, what's the security activity going to be like that? My daughter last night told me, she's like, I heard they're closing Highway 6 down from Tupelo all the way to Oxford for the vice president. I'm like, I don't know if that's exactly the way that it'll work. My assumption is that it'll be a pretty big motorcade in terms of protection, the way that they will bring him in. But it is going to be fascinating to see how this plays out today, and who's going to speak beyond just J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. There's so many people involved with the Turning Point organization. The fact that J.D. Lance talked a few weeks ago, I guess when he made the announcement, or the folks at Turning Point made the announcement that he was going to be the featured speaker, he did an interview on what is still the Charlie Kirk Show, was his show. It's now hosted by some of the other folks within the organization. And he said that he was going to try to do what Charlie did, which was make a brief speech and then engage in Q&A with students.
It's going to be interesting, yeah.
I mean, for the Vice President of the United States, who takes questions all the time, to sit on a stool or stand on the stage and have students come with a microphone and either ask a question or challenge an opinion or push back on something and then hear him respond and engage, that I don't feel like that's something that we see from a president or a vice president very often.
I don't think you see it from many.
Ever.
From many elected leaders, especially those in the federal world. It's the town hall setting where you sit down and have a conversation, allow people to talk and express, their concerns or what bothers them or what they love. I mean, I don't remember anything like that. So this is going to be very unique, and I'm very tickled that it's here in Mississippi and at Ole Miss. I mean, that's pretty cool. Had a big debate there not long ago. With what was it?
It's been a while now.
Not long
ago, but 2008 was a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so this is a big deal, and I'm so happy that we're there, SuperTalk, and that the vice president's coming in. That's a big deal, man. I mean, even if
no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the motorcade's going to be worth seeing, I can imagine.
Mornings with Richard Cross tomorrow will be at the Mississippi Coliseum for the annual Hobnob, hosted by the Mississippi Economic Council. You'll hear from political leaders, experience a day of networking, and great food. It is not too late for you to register for all the information you need. Go to mec.ms or mecms.com. Either of those will get you to their website. And, oh, by the way, there is a football game on this campus this weekend. Ole Miss hosting South Carolina on Saturday. To get you ready for it on Friday night, Ratchet Entertainment Group is turning up the energy. Football Friday nights in Oxford. This Friday night, Halloween night, on the eve of Ole Miss in South Carolina, the Molly Ringwalds return to the Lyric. They will take you on a wild ride through the biggest hits of the 80s. One of the most fun nights that you can have. Get your tickets now, OleMissConcerts.com. Again, the website, OleMissConcerts.com. The Molly Ringwalds, presented by Ratchet Entertainment Group. That's at the Lyric this Friday night. 8 o'clock hour on the way. We'll be joined by Senator Nicole Boyd, Representative Clay Deweese, both of them with Oxford and Lafayette County in their districts, and then some students from Turning Point as well. We're back with you right after this on MRC.
Your coffee, conversations, and clarity. What a great way to start your Mississippi day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Somebody told me when I first got to Nashville, oh, she finally got it made.
Welcome again, 8 o'clock hour. Fast couple of hours on this Wednesday morning, the 29th of October. Glad to be with you, Richard Cross. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. You can join us and be part of the conversation. MRC is presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Looking to manage your personal finances, our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Senator Nicole Boyd joins me right now. She is a regular guest on the program, and it's always good to see you.
Good to see you in person,
in your hometown and in person.
Exactly. So,
big day, big event happening, obviously, on the Ole Miss campus tonight. It is a turning point event, but I feel like the headline is the Vice President of the United States is going to be here, and J.D. Vance and also Erica Kirk, the widow of the late Charlie Kirk, as the headliners for this event. Give me a sense of what this means in your mind.
There's been so much excitement in the community over it, and the students are so excited about it. It's been so cool to listen to the students. This has really been the focus of this event is the students.
Yeah.
It's their event. It's really coming to them, and to see all the students talking about it. I saw a group out here. They had their buttons, and it's before most people are up. And they have their buttons and their coffee, and they're ready to go, and they're so excited about this event. And it's so cool to live in a college community and see this kind of cultural shift that we've seen, to really have these young people that are of a more conservative mindset to really start engaging and really become really spokespeople for what they think and what they believe, but do it in a really manner that is welcoming, and that they're encouraging other peoples to listen and engage and debate. And I think that's one of the things that you have when you listened to Charlie for years. For most of us, we've been watching him for years, and we've watched him on college campuses. And so they were so excited about Charlie coming before his assassination. And now that but they also feel empowered to kind of pick up that torch and really continue in the debate and really engage in these issues. So that's just so cool to live in this community and kind of be witnessing that.
You use the word engage for college students, which sometimes is hard to do. Getting college students to engage can be difficult. I mean, I feel like there was a time where the level of engagement stopped at a sticker on game day that said, Rebels for Trent, or, let's go Tate, or whatever it was, whoever was running for office, because people were passing them out and anybody would wear a sticker. This feels like a different level of engagement and, in some ways, empowerment for young people who are maybe for the first times in their lives seeing that it's okay to say that I support the guy or the gal on the right.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, the toughest audience you go to in this community is that group of young people. Because, you may be a tough interviewer, but let me tell you, they are going to grill you. And I enjoy it because I really, they're insightful. I love to hear their ideas of where they're coming from. And they're asking those questions that we really should be teaching all of our kids to ask those questions. So they are, and it's so impressive. You had Dr. Skultety here from the Declaration of Independence Center, and you want to hear some impressive young people. Go listen to them on a Thursday night when they've got a speaker in, and they're asking those questions. I am so impressed and kind of excited to see this new generation coming up and really giving a voice to things that I think are important.
So a couple of years now, I've been told you can say Freedom Center, that's an easier way to do it. The Declaration of Independence Center, the Freedom Center, has officially been on campus and has been a program that has classes. There's a minor that's associated with it. You and others that are elected officials were involved in kind of the formation of that and getting this. Take us back to the beginning. How did this happen?
So Representative Deweese, who you'll have in later tonight, went to a meeting back in the one fall, and they were pitching this idea of really having a place in the country, because there's no place like it, where it was okay to have conservative thought. It was okay to start talking about issues that are not popular on college campuses across the country, and that people should have the freedom and the place to feel safe discussing those. And safe is a weird word, but they should have the opportunity to really discuss those issues and really be able to study them, study what those issues mean, and do that. And that was a weakness across this country. We didn't have a place like that. Mm-hmm. And they wanted the University of Mississippi to be that place, that flagship, where students could come and really be given that opportunity to have those ideas and thoughts, and that there weren't something that needed to be canceled. Across the country, we saw, and we still see a lot of those ideas that when people have conservative thought, they're almost canceled. Like they can't say those, they can't do those. And that shouldn't be the way it is on a college campus. Just
supposed to be a place that's open for the discussion, exchange of ideas, First Amendment rights, free-flowing conversation.
Absolutely. But in many places, if you have those conservative ideas, they want to cancel you. And so they wanted to make sure that this was a place and that the university could be a flagship in that. They could be the place where people felt open to discuss those ideas too. And so we've seen it grow now. We've seen them have their first cohort of students with that minor, and you see these. It is really a place where students can have discussion and debate and ideas, and I see it as something that I can't wait to see how they mature and how they change the political process, because it's something that is the most important thing that we do as representatives and senators in the state of Mississippi, is that we're able to have those exchange of ideas and really debate what's good policy and bad policy without trying to cancel each other.
Yeah. We live in a copycat world. When something goes well, other places tend to do it also. In this case, do you anticipate other Southern universities, in particular, other schools in the SEC, kind of reaching out and saying, hey, tell us more about this. This might be something we want to bring to our campus?
Oh, absolutely. I think you're going to see this across, because I think you see now students coming in from across the country who are like, this is an exciting place to be, some place that I can actually, my ideology is not going to be canceled. And so you see them coming in from across the country. You see parents wanting their children just to go to a place where they feel like they can develop their own thoughts, their own things, without having an agenda forced upon them.
Right.
And so it has been, I mean, you talk to parents coming in, and it's so exciting to see these parents coming in, because they're so pleased that this is a place that they can send their children, that they can go and they can really have these discussions and ideas.
It's funny you say that, because I have met parents from the Northeast. I've met parents from California, from other parts of the country that said, we visited, and she's like, I want my child to get away from some of the nonsense that they see in different parts of the country.
Right. And so, and that's what you do. And it's so cool. You'll meet these people in town, and I'm always the person that talks to people in the airplane. And so when I'm flying in and out, but I always meet these families, from Colorado, from Florida, from all over, and they're coming in to look at the university because they've heard it's a place where their children can really develop their ideas and their thoughts without being forced, a certain agenda. And so that is what you see. And it's so, and you meet these parents now that they've put their kids here, and the parents come to visit. We even have a few of them who are moving to Oxford. They like it so much because they like a place where that, people are encouraged to think, but think for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting to see.
Only a minute or so left. I was talking with Gregg Davidson, who's one of the faculty advisors for Turning Point, the chapter on campus. And I asked him, I said, what's it going to feel like inside the pavilion tonight? And I feel like there's this uncertainty, maybe even for a lot of students. Like, is it going to be exciting? Is it going to be sad? Is it going to be uplifting? What do you think the vibe is going to be inside the building tonight?
I think it's going to be all those things, because I think we have to remember that we are not hearing Charlie Kirk because of the tragedy that happened to him and the assassination. Let's call it what it is. And so there's going to be that, but then there's also going to be is where do you go from here? And there's going to be an excitement in the fact of those ideas and principles are still moving forward, and really encouraging people to do that. So I see a lot of kids super excited to come and to they understand the importance of this event.
Yeah.
But they also understand it's their job to carry forth that mission.
I've heard a lot of big cheers in the pavilion. I feel like the one when J.D. Vance walks on stage tonight may rival pretty much anything that's happened inside that building.
We've heard a lot of big cheers in there, so I expect it to be among the biggest, though.
Senator Nicole Boyd, thanks so much for your time. Always good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. We'll take a quick time out. Representative Clay Deweese will join us next.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
You're waking up to what matters. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
I'm a hard-working man. I wear a steel hard hat.
You like the music? Brooks and Dunn. Good to be with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, streaming online at supertalk.fm, Supertalk TV. Presented by Community Bank. Find them online at communitybank.net. Representative Clay Deweese is my guest now. He represents District 12, that is Lafayette County. He's chair of House Appropriations Committee C and lives and works right here in Oxford. Good morning.
Good morning, Richard. Great to be with you this morning.
I appreciate you coming by. I've kind of thrown this out to everybody that has sat down. When you think about this event that's happening tonight, the Turning Point event in the pavilion with the vice president here and with Erica Kirk here, with the backdrop of what affected so many people in Charlie Kirk's assassination, what are the thoughts that come to mind?
Yeah, sure. I think first and foremost, I think the way that this has been handled with Turning Point, with the university, with the student focus group, I'm so happy to hear that they're prioritizing the students. The movement that we're seeing, not only on campus but across the country, is fantastic. We look at the tragedy that happened just a couple of months ago, and our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the Kirk family as they deal with this. But I would like, as we focus on Charlie Kirk and his life, maybe move away from Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, to Charlie Kirk, the follower of Christ. And I think that's how Charlie would want to be remembered. I think that...
and he said as much.
Absolutely. I think that I know, because the Bible tells us, as followers of Christ, we will suffer. And it's what you do. Suffering is inevitable, but, misery is optional. And we see Erica and Turning Point choosing to not be miserable and transform that pain and pain they're certainly going through, into something so great in this movement that we're seeing across the country. So, I'd like to, as we focus on tonight and just the events, really think about Charlie Kirk, the follower of Christ.
And it's interesting when you think about all of the emotions that Erica Kirk must have gone through. The pain of losing a husband, of losing the father to her children, the sadness that goes along with that, the shock, the grieving process. And there are people that, frankly, have been critical. They're like, well, how can she jump into this forward-facing role as CEO of Turning Point and speaking that have kind of painted her in a negative light? It's hard to put yourself in that position and know how you would react. And it's pretty – that's kind of a long way of saying I'm really interested to hear what Erica Kirk's message is going to be to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 college students.
Absolutely. Richard, you and I can't imagine what she's going through, and to do it publicly with the world watching, again, she's transformed the pain that she's going through into something productive, and we're seeing that movement across the country. We're seeing that movement on campus. We're seeing the voices on campus. Senator Boyd was talking about just hearing the students talk, and we always talk about, these are the future. These kids are our future. I feel like I'm not far removed from that. You and I are not. I don't consider us that at all.
Unfortunately, we're a little farther removed from college campus than we would like to admit.
That's correct. And, I look back on our college days, and we are what then was the future. And so these kids are our future, and to see the conversations that they're having, they're learning how to debate. They're learning how to listen, not listen to give a response, listen to hear what other people are saying. We all need to do that, and it's great to see that on this campus. And we're all going to disagree. My goodness, in the world of politics, we may all disagree. Senator Boyd and I, we agree on a lot, but we disagree on certain things, and that's okay. We can do that, and we can do it civilly and respectfully, and I think we all need to learn those lessons.
The disagree thing is interesting because it's not just the right and the left, Republicans and Democrats disagreeing. You may have seen this or read a story or two. Sometimes Republicans disagree with each other within...
Maybe from time to time.
Even within a state legislature. I mean, it's crazy how it works, but it's finding a way. And to me, that's one of the biggest challenges that exist within the Republican Party, not so much in Mississippi, but even at the national level, is when you're given the opportunity with the majority to make positive change, how do you get past, well, my idea is better or my idea is better, to ultimately advance a conservative cause that is good for the constituents?
Sure. I think it's to keep your eye on the ultimate goal and don't let perfection get in the way of doing good. So many times we want to make sure everything we do is perfect. Stay focused on the common goal, and we can all agree. We may have different ways of getting there, but stay focused on the end goal.
I talked with Senator Boyd about this a little bit. The Freedom Center on campus, the Declaration of Independence Center. It's only a couple of years old right now, and yet we were talking earlier this morning about the growth, the number of students that are part of those classes that are focused on freedom studies. I had a chance to visit with a couple of them and have a couple of more before the show And what does that mean in terms of the Ole Miss campus and what it might translate into onto other college campuses?
Sure. It's great to have it here, first and foremost. The movement a few years ago to get something established, I remember Senator Boyd and I were both a part of trying to get that established here on campus. Sometimes we get accused of being a liberal university and higher ed being considered liberal, this, that, and the other. We are a conservative university. You're talking about parents coming here. Fortunately, in my job, I get to deal with a lot of parents that have students here.
I saw you perk up on the side when Senator Boyd mentioned people moving to Oxford.
We were like,
yes, let's do that.
We like that. But time after time, I hear people say one of the reasons they came here was because of the political views and the conservatism of Ole Miss. And to have the declaration class here, to have these students able to learn and see and in a conservative way is fantastic. I think with what you're seeing tonight, the turning point is as they continue across the country, and I think you'll see more of these organizations formed across the country.
Jacob Batt is in charge of communications on campus, media relations, and he told me earlier they're expecting over 150 media members from across the country and from multiple countries that are here.
Wow.
Specifically for this event
tonight.
And I don't know if it's because of the vice president's here, if it's because of Erica Kirk, it's because of the limited number of stops on the Turning Point tour. But that's a pretty wide range there, a pretty big net that you're casting in terms of focused on the Ole Miss campus.
Yeah, fantastic. It's always great to have people on campus. We've got such a beautiful campus and a wonderful community that you and I get to call home. It's great to be able to show that off and have people from around the world being here. That's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the sun would pop out.
Yeah, I need a little sunshine.
I'm not sure that's going to happen at this point.
A little dreary out there right now.
Maybe they can just hang around for the weekend as well.
Saturday looks great.
I asked Senator Boyd this, and I'm curious as well. What's the emotion going to be inside the building tonight as you kind of think about looking out over a sea of college students that are listening, that are engaged? What's it going to feel like?
Hope. Seeing someone going through what Erica's had to go through, and seeing her move through this. I know Senator Boyd talked about all the celebrations we've had in the pavilion and whatnot, and we've all been witness to a few of those. I think tonight will be a unique experience. I don't know that we'll have the roars of hitting a three-pointer to win the game and whatnot, Coach Beard's group, but I just think
crowd pop, I think, is what they call that.
Yeah, I just think that it's just going to be there will be some somber moments, I'm sure, but just to be there and to witness it would be really, really cool.
As you have engaged with colleagues, friends, people that you live and work with, what's been the discussion leading up to this event? Beyond, hey, can you help me get a ticket?
A few of those. Again, the focus on the students, we go back to the debate in 2008. That was a big deal for our campus. It wasn't, while it involved students, it wasn't exactly student-oriented. This is the focus on the future generation. And I think just seeing that is fantastic.
You and I have children that are roughly the same age, or exactly the same age. One of the things that struck me in the immediate aftermath of Charlie being shot was how this affected people that were junior high and high school age.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a sense of that, even with your son?
Yes. As the kids come home from school that day, they're talking about it, and you're trying to grasp with it and then try to explain to our kids are high school age and junior high, just trying to explain to them what happened and why. And we live in a broken world, and I think there's evil in the world, unfortunately. And trying to explain to them and work through those things is certainly difficult.
Well, and the thing that just struck me was I knew Charlie Kirk was connecting with college students. Mm-hmm. I don't think I realized that he was connecting with 14 and 15 and 16-year-olds in the way that he was. But it's going to be a big deal. Thanks so much for coming by this morning.
Thanks for having me. Great
Representative Clay Deweese, District 12, that's Lafayette County. Coming up next, Emily Purifoy, Eli Keel going to join us. A couple of freedom studies scholars at Ole Miss.
From the Seabrook.com Weather Center.
When they ask where you heard it, you tell them.
I know you heard it. Right here.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and Supertalk TV. Glad to have you along. Thanks for spending part of your rainy morning with us across the state of Mississippi. Happy to introduce to you Emily Purifoy. She is a student member of Turning Point, the Ole Miss chapter, and also takes classes in the Freedom Center, the Declaration Center, the University of Mississippi Declaration of Independence Center. Easier just to say, just to say the Freedom Center as well. But Freedom Studies scholar there as well. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for coming by. I love the student perspective. We've had a couple of those this morning. So let's just start big picture. This event tonight.
Yeah.
What are people talking about? What are people saying on campus?
There's a lot of excitement. I mean, I have a lot of friends who I know are into politics and are still interested to come, and that's been awesome. Actually, the Declaration Center, we've been doing some fun little reels going around campus asking students, do you know who J.D. Vance is? Do you know that he's coming? I
hope the answer is yes. I know who he is for the most part.
Mostly yeses. There's, I think, a surprising amount of no's, but that's okay. Hopefully that this will help educate people. But I think there's a positive atmosphere around it. People are excited. They want to see their vice president. It was a big thing that happened a couple months ago, and it sparked a lot of interest. I have heard of students who are pretty unhappy about what's happening and have talked about going in and saving seats and then leaving so that conservative students can't come in and listen. I don't really know if that will work out for them. I hope it doesn't, but I also hope that maybe they'll stay and listen. They might find it interesting. So
well, and that's one of the things that was so fascinating about Charlie Kirk and the way he engaged. It wasn't combative. It was generally open conversations where he was willing to talk and debate. Can that part of Turning Point live on?
I really hope so. I think it's hard. I think he had a really good personality for it. And I think we will not be able to fully fill his shoes, but I would hope that we would be able to carry that on. I know Turning Point chapter here is trying to create some tabling with conversations and things like that, and I hope that will do well. I mean, I'm even hoping that maybe if it's not an official event, that there can be more conversations just on campus at the lunch table, and even for me, having the courage to maybe speak out and give my opinion when someone makes a blanket statement about something with the government, turn into a conversation.
Sure. You obviously are engaged, right? I mean, you're taking classes within the Declaration Center. You're involved with Turning Point. So I'm assuming that you have conversations with maybe like-minded students, maybe less like-minded students, about things that are going on. But the college campus from a larger sense. I mean, students are talking about football and basketball and parties and swaps and classes and whatever. Are there conversations that are happening, maybe more so than there have been in the past?
There are more now, that's for sure. I think there are more now. I think people like to avoid that kind of conversation because it feels like conflict. I don't think students really understand the difference between a conversation and conflict.
Which is so very Southern of us, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about church. We're not going to talk about politics.
Well,
that's good to know, though.
Yeah, but I hope that there's more conversations that come about because it doesn't have to be conflict. It can be a conversation.
Tell me about the Declaration Center. This is it's still relatively new. We talked with Dr. Skultety earlier this morning. We talked as well with Rankin Sherling.
Yeah.
And kind of laid out what's going on with some of those classes, how they're based on the founding documents. What's that been like for you?
I've loved it. I did not know about it coming into school. I found out about it, I think, midway through my freshman year. Was super excited. I feel like, especially hearing people like Charlie talk, you realize how little you know. And so I think I realized I need to be educated. And yeah, they're great at educating us. Like the classes they're interesting. You learn a lot. So for the Freedom Studies minor, you just fulfill that minor credit taking those Freedom Studies classes. And then there's some electives they have in there. And then there's the Thursday night symposiums, which are awesome. And those are just voluntarily come, listen to different speakers, talk, get to know other students. I mean, I've met people who I never would have met on campus if I hadn't done the program, who are like-minded and want to learn more. Yeah. So yeah, it's really great. It's awesome.
Well, one of the things that Rankin and I talked about it's so incredible, if you rewind 250 years and you look at the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and the Federalist Papers, the founding fathers of our country didn't all see eye to eye. They didn't agree with everything. No. And I mean, they, knocked down drag-outs, but it was all about the greater good. And the documents that they created have lasted 250 years and still seem pretty relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's shocking to even think about how little I understand of our governmental system and our founding documents. I'm actually in Dr. Sherling's class, and we've been talking about the walkouts that happened when we were putting together our Constitution, and that was not always easy. People did not always get along. Yeah. But I think that's something to learn from, that we can have different perspectives, but their goal was the greater good.
But I feel like in a politically divided world we live in, there's so many people that don't realize how fraught with difference the creation of our country was.
Yeah. It was not perfect. It was not like everyone was for the same thing.
No.
And I think that's something that I've noticed in political conversations, is that there's maybe not a similar mindset of I don't know that there's a similar mindset of wanting the same greater good. That there's not that, we don't really see eye to eye in that area. I think that's where a lot of the conflict comes in.
Yeah. What are you most interested in tonight? What's the thing that you're most looking forward to tonight with the Turning Point tour?
I'm interested to see the turnout. I think it's going to be full, but I'm interested to see what that's like. And I'm really interested to see what Vance is going to say. I really like Erica Kirk, but I feel like I've heard a little bit more of her speeches, especially in the last couple months. But I'm really excited to see what Vance is going to say. He's a very interesting political figure to me. I started reading his memoir, I think, last summer. Yes, it's very, very interesting. And I think I'm a Southern Studies major, so I also find his memoir very interesting. And I think he's a picture of the American dream, really working towards being a political figure and making change from a poor background. So I'm excited what he's going to have to say to the students.
Yeah. That's a fascinating perspective. Within the Southern Studies program, are you on an island of one in terms of a conservative, or is that a program that has become more diverse?
I definitely feel a little alone there. That's been an interesting thing for me to be a part of. I kind of expected coming into the program that it would be a little more liberal leaning, and I knew that I would probably disagree with a lot of my professors. I've been interested in what the students think, though. I've started asking some of my classmates, what do you think about what we're learning? Do you agree with this? Do you just what do you think about it? And I've gotten a lot of responses of students who are a little scornful of what we're learning in the classroom. Some students just don't care, and other students also are not super happy with what we're being taught.
So why did you choose Southern Studies?
I grew up in the South, and I really love Southern culture. My dad went to Vanderbilt, and I even read my freshman year. I read I'll Take My Stand. He recommended that to me, and I really like Southern culture. I think it's important, even though I disagree with a lot of the professors, it's important to continue that open conversation and to have students that maybe disagree. I mean, I really respect Katie McKee, the head of the program, and I've spoken with her about this.
Yeah, well, and I'm curious if your professors are willing to engage at an academic level, or if it's, no, this is how it is, and don't want to hear a dissenting viewpoint or a viewpoint that asks questions.
I think it varies from professor to professor. I generally keep my mouth shut and just listen in class.
That's
I'm
fair.
afraid. But I think it varies from professor to professor. But I don't think there's enough conversation at all.
I think that's a really interesting perspective that you bring, because we hear people talk about on college campuses there's this liberal ideology and professors are, shoving their ideas down students' throats, and sometimes you wonder if that's blown out of proportion, but you're doing that on a day-to-day basis, and
think it is,
you say it's not blown out of proportion.
No, and I'm the youngest I have two older sisters, and they've been through multiple colleges, mostly Christian colleges, so different experience than I have had. But I don't think it's blown out of proportion, unfortunately.
We talked with Kenneth earlier this morning, the vice president of Turning Point, and he said that the growth of the chapter since Charlie's death has just been off the charts. Is that sustainable?
I really, really hope so. I think it will be. I've just heard a lot of students feel, and I felt this myself, like a need to become more educated, to actually have a say in what's going on politically, not only on your college campus, but then in your life afterwards. Like, I think students are they're gonna stay.
Outstanding. Emily, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for sharing, and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Emily Purifoy, she is a Freedom Studies scholar within that program within the Declaration Center. We're going to wrap things up for you coming up next. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Quick timeout. We're back to wrap it up after this.
Well, people may try to guess the secret of a happy...
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
You heard it here first.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Here comes the news.
One last time with you on this Wednesday morning, the 29th of October. Richard Cross with you on the Ole Miss campus today. We're inside the Johnson Commons, kind of right in the heart of campus. The university library is kind of over my left shoulder. The quad is out the window to our left, Paris Yates Chapel. Not far from the pavilion, where tonight the Turning Point Tour event is going to happen. An expected capacity crowd, and when I say capacity, it's in terms of the number they're going to let in. I'm sure it's set up at the stage, and so you'll lose some of those seats, at least in one of the end zones. But 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 people expected to be there for the event, just depending on how many are actually let in. Before we go any further, I want to tell you about my friends at David Fisher Land Company. If you are in the market for land, land conversations, right? Whether it's to buy land or possibly you've got a piece of property that you need to sell, let David Fisher Land Company help you. Their website is davidfisherland.com. David, Jack, and Travis have been collectively in the land financing, brokerage, helping you find hunting clubs business collectively for well over 40 years. But David Fisher Land Company, based in Inverness, Mississippi, has been doing business for 40 years. Their website, again, davidfisherland.com. Maybe you're looking for a piece of property that will work for hunting and outdoor activities. Maybe you're looking for farmland. Maybe it's investment property. They've got some new listings on the website at davidfisherland.com, a property that's in Sunflower and Coahoma County, the Lusk property. It's just gorgeous piece of it's flat relatively because it is in the Delta, but you got some rolling hills in there. You got a break, a little bit of a bayou back there. You want to do some duck hunting. There's timber there for deer hunting as well. Just a great property. You can check that out online on their website, davidfisherland.com. Tell them you heard about them on Mornings with Richard Cross. I would appreciate that very much. Thanks to all of our guests this morning. I will tell you this. I mentioned in our news headlines that while you have the Turning Point USA Tour event happening tonight in the pavilion, There is a counter event that is happening at the student union. It's put on. The headliners are a state representative from Tennessee who was involved in some demonstrations on the State House floor there, one of the Tennessee Three in the wake of the school shooting in Nashville, and Professor James Thomas, who is a professor in the sociology department at Ole Miss, perhaps a name that you recognize. So that is happening, and it's for students who don't want to be part of this, who have a very different viewpoint and view of the world than a lot of the folks that are going to the Turning Point event, and so that is happening. We also have learned this morning that there is a follow-up event. So you've got the Mississippi Rise Up Town Hall. That's what's happening in the student union. But on their flyer, Mississippi Rise Up Town Hall. Join students and community leaders as we stand for open expression, civic engagement, and a campus that represents all voices, not one ideology. Afterwards, join us for Drag Bingo at the Powerhouse. Participating organizations include the Environmental Coalition, UM Forward, Southern Progressives Alliance, the UM Community Alliance Network, the Lafayette County Democratic Party, and United Campus Workers. So if Drag Bingo is your thing, then maybe you can check that out tonight, the Powerhouse.
I need 4 tickets, buddy. I'm kidding, yeah. I love the way you got to stack this stuff. When one thing's going on over here, you got to make sure you're seen over there.
Yeah. C-Spire text line always open. I apologize for being slow. We've had a bunch of guests this morning and have not been able to get to many of your messages. We remind you that there's a lot that is going on at C-Spire and a lot of opportunity for you to take advantage. The best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals are available now, like a new iPhone with up to $1,000 off with trade-in, an Apple SE watch to go with it, or for Samsung fans, you can get the new Galaxy S25 free today. No trade-in needed. The best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. Go fast, so don't wait. Shop now at cspire.com or visit your local C-Spire store today. Big thanks to Ole Miss for making this space available to us inside Johnson Commons. Thanks to Jacob Batt and his team, to the Chancellor's office as well, and to all of our guests. Rankin Sherling, Associate Director of the Declaration Center. Kenneth Tonos, who is Vice President of the Student Chapter of Turning Point. Professor Gregg Davidson. Dr. Stephen Skultety, who is a Professor of Philosophy and is the director of the Declaration Center. Senator Nicole Boyd, Representative Clay Deweese, and Emily Purifoy, all making time for us this morning. We appreciate that very much. Tomorrow morning, we'll be with you in Jackson at the Mississippi Coliseum for Hobnob. Go to mec.ms if you still need tickets and more information. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Houston. Appreciate you very much for making it happen. Mornings with Richard Cross. Lance, talk to you tomorrow, buddy. See ya.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.